You are now in the zone. With Taste Test Live. Hosted by Damian Lamar and Blue Francois.
Okay. This was fun.
Yes, already.
What's jazzing?
End scene.
Yes. Welcome to Taste Test Live.
Yes.
My name is Damian Lamar, and I am the host of Taste Test, the weekly 1 hour long music urban radio show. If you haven't heard the show, you can listen on the air on WJCT.org or 89.9 FM. Sunday nights at 10 o'clock, and if you missed that one, you can hear the replay on Tuesday nights at 11 o'clock, all times Eastern. Joining me is my co-host, amazing photographer extraordinaire, fellow music connoisseur, introducing, woohoo, Mr. Blue Francois. He's trying to do a big climactic build-up of an introduction,
And
horns included.
Yes, I'm Blue Francois, a.k.a. Little Professor X, Clock X, Professor Clock X. Never mind. I was trying to do the Batman Robin thing.
Oh, so you would actually be Dr. Sprepper, my sidekick.
Yeah, what is that? Okay. All right, yeah. It's Dr. Sprepper.
Introducing Professor Clock and...
Dr. Sprepper. Am I saying it right?
Yes.
Sprepper. I like that.
The Sprite and Pepper mix.
Oh, Jesus.
Okay, but listen, I'm really, really excited about the show and what's on deck for you guys today over the next hour or so. In addition to our weekly music digestion we do called Put This in Your Mouth. It's a new segment we've been doing. We have special guest in the studio here with us, the Suedes. Welcome.
Hello,
Hey,
hello.
thank you for having
Hey, you guys look lovely.
Thank you.
us. Feel lovely.
Yeah,
I took a bath.
that's important.
I feel so much
I did
better.
too, but it was early this morning. And I didn't do anything rigorous, so I'm not quite functified.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
you know,
Just an everlasting
little work
clean.
sweat.
Air it out.
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Don't come too close.
We are across
Noted.
the studio.
Yeah, but I'm not like, I don't reek of any odor or anything, do I?
Okay,
No,
no.
you're good.
Okay,
It
good,
smells like nothing in here.
It smells like nothing.
Yeah.
Just like equipment.
Just equipment.
Yeah.
You could get some candles, actually. That'd be nice.
Yeah.
Will they let you?
I think I might set the fire alarm off or something.
Okay.
I wouldn't want to do that.
Can't get a vibe going.
Yeah. I can get those like the
Glade
battery
buttons.
operated flicker
little
flicker
LED
can.
ones.
Yeah. But you
Yeah.
know what? Behind you is this little knob. We can turn it down for ambiance.
Oh, ambient.
Look at this.
Sexy time.
Yeah.
Whoa,
Ooh.
okay,
Oh, wow.
Oh, that's real
is that
sexy.
too sexy? Or
That's
is
too
that-
sexy.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. So our guest is adjusting the lights inside the studio.
Is this
So
better?
I like it. That's
Okay.
good. Nice mood lighting.
Just enough sexy. It's like,
It's a vibe.
Yeah, it's a vibe.
Not-
Speaking of vibes, Blue, can you do a quick favor? Take a moment and give our guest and all the new people that are listening to Taste Test Live what they can expect from us over the next hour.
Yes, Taste Test Live is your weekly conversational podcast. Each week, we discuss the hand-curated playlist from Damian Lamar's radio show, Taste Test Plus. Our podcast highlights local artists, singers, producers, entrepreneurs, and more right here in Jacksonville, Florida. We even bring you in-depth discussions about what's happening in the music industry. We have guest interviews, might even feature an exclusive track every once in a while, especially by Dr. Sprepper.
Dr. Sprepper, my handy dandy,
I don't know where that came
trusted,
from. That's not it.
always readily available to kick some booty.
Okay.
I wanted to say the other word.
I'll take that.
We'll keep that for the kids. Kids don't even say booty at home. Okay. So yeah, before we dive into the recap, I want to get right to interview our guest, if that's okay with you.
Yeah.
Can we like spend some time
Yeah.
and find out who the Suedes, who they are?
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Cool. So I'll let her go first because every time I tell a story, I'm missing things. So you tell it, baby.
I tell what? how who we are?
Yeah. Who you are? I mean, I could do the dubious honor, and I think what I'll do is let's just cut just cut to it. Let's read a quick bio. So
Okay. Yeah, that's a good place to start.
let's do that. And I'll probably edit all the superfluous stuff out. Okay. So the Suedes is the stage name for the onstage duo and real-life couple Linzy Lauren and Cyrus Quaranta that performed in early 2018, this year, as the way of telling stories of their life together through music. Linzy plays the ukulele and Cyrus plays the double bass and guitar, combining their vocals to cover classic duets, pop tunes, and original pieces of their own interspersed music with stories from their life together. So
Yeah, we just, we play the music, and of course we share the stories that influence the music that we're performing, whether it's original piece or a cover song, or say, we like this song because it describes this moment, in our life together.
So the last time I had the privilege, actually the last and first time I had the privilege of actually seeing you guys perform was this past weekend over at the Volstead in downtown Jacksonville.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was dark and stormy, which is, I'm calling out the names of the drinks.
Yeah.
And so
Mine was a Sazerac.
really, I didn't have a dark and stormy. I actually bought the dark and stormy for somebody else. My drink is always the mantequilla.
Oh, that sounds...
It means, in Spanish, it means butter.
Okay.
I feel like it's nothing but liquor. It's like 3 or 4 liquors put together.
Oh my.
I have one, and
That explains that night. No, I'm just playing.
it
does.
You really. Anytime you see me at the Volstead and I'm drinking, like, oh, he's drinking that chartreuse stuff.
Here come the hiccups.
Yeah, and I got hiccups.
Yep.
Hiccups for me are like violent.
Yeah.
I don't know how to hiccup properly.
We were just talking about your cousin who used to tickle you until you would get ill.
Oh, my
and I was
God.
just like,
Sorry to bring that
what?
up. That's traumatic. I know.
I know, but it was a conversation on our way over here. It's like, what I would do to that cousin.
Let me tell you, when he was done, there was some chasing of okay, so for those of you who don't know, I have this horrible cousin, and he would literally pin me down, and he would tickle me and pinch me and make me laugh, and it would hurt.
That sounds horrible.
Tickling, I don't like. Pinching, I don't like. If you want a fat lip, or you want you want to test my reflexes, pinch me
That's
or
the
tickle
button.
me. And he would do it until I vomit, and that's just not cool. That's like child abuse,
That
It
is
is.
child abuse.
and a combination of all that, hiccups is just equally as evil. I don't understand why my diaphragm decides that it wanted to jump like that. I'm trying to have a conversation with you guys, and I'm like, I kept hiccuping, and you just smiled and were so gracious about the whole thing.
Of course.
You were so gracious.
You can't help it.
Well,
Yeah.
we were all drinking.
It was a good night.
It was a good night.
But look, back to that night. Speaking of the stories that you mentioned, you tell.
Yeah.
Couple of songs that kind of stood out to me. I think you guys did Her and Daniel Caesar.
Yeah.
Best part.
Yeah.
So how does that correlate to your relationship?
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because that was the first time we'd ever played it together.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I could not tell.
Thank you. I mean, the lyrics alone are something we can relate to on a daily basis because we're constantly nauseating people with how cute we are. We're just
Or making them like extremely jealous that like, how did
Yeah.
they do it? Like,
kind
my
of.
God.
I mean, because there's that moment where we're always looking at each other like,
Right.
wow, I'm still really lucky
Yeah.
to have you. You're still the best part of every day, of every moment, of really anything. I'm just always glad that you're there. And I mean, best part is why you're still my best friend. So
Nice.
whatever we do, you're still.
I think you can tell is that like when we are together, there's almost a bubble, and everything exists outside of that bubble that we are currently in, and so
I feel the bubbles in here. It's
Yeah.
encroaching upon my space right now.
It's not that we're deliberately trying to exclude people from our world. It's just that we do have our own world, and we get to live in that one, and we also get to live in everyone else's world. And whenever we feel
Whether
like
they
we
like
can
it or
retreat
not.
back into our world and laugh, and then we come back out and be like, all right, hey, yes, we're business people, we're
Ish.
professional, and then we'll go back and,
Well,
and
I
laugh.
appreciate you sharing your world with me Saturday night because it's very rare that you actually get a chance to see a couple, individuals that are in love, make music together.
You're
I mean,
right. You're right.
there's several power couples. Like name one Who's a power couple that
Everyone
makes
calls
music?
Jay-Z and Beyonce. That's the
Yeah.
first that people
The first
think
and
of.
first top of mind marketing.
But you can go back in the day and you can say Cher and Bono, man.
Yeah.
Like the
Okay.
it's
Hey,
throwback.
So Sonny and Cher?
I got you,
We're not
babe,
basing things
was
on
written
talent.
in love.
No.
I got you, babe, was written in love.
We haven't covered that one yet, but we should just
Yes.
I got you,
I'm
babe.
already working on it.
Okay.
It's already in the works. Burn.
One of my favorite groups that I think I've played them on my show a couple times ago was they used to be called Shrift, and then they changed the name to Zeep.
Oh, okay.
And they're a Portuguese group, Chris Franck and Nina Miranda. And they sing Portuguese and English, and they are. I hope they're still together. But
That
they make
sounds
great
amazing.
music. Like, you have to listen to Shrift from 2006. It's called Lost in the Moment. Must listen to that album. It will liberate you. It's a great album for like 8 o'clock Sunday morning.
Okay. All right.
Put it on early if you're up early. It will help you get into your day. It's just
I'm writing it down.
yeah, Shrift.
Shrift.
Yeah, Lost in the Moment.
Lost in the Moment.
So that's another power couple, and they created wonderful symphonic music, and of course Beyonce and Jay-Z, as you mentioned, Sonny and Cher. Yeah. So what's the name, the Suedes? Where did that come from?
Well, you know,
Wait, hold on. I'm sorry. I'm gonna interrupt you because why did you both laugh at the same time?
because we both know
The
the
process
story.
was
It's like-
really funny.
The process. Okay.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
I mean-
Sorry for the interruption. Yeah, the Suedes.
Yeah. Well, so we're sitting around. We're just kind of sitting around in the kitchen, throwing back different names here and there. Like, well, what should we call ourselves? We just want to play together. You know, what we call ourselves isn't that important, but it kind of is. And so we're just thinking, oh, what's some cool names? It should just be something short, sweet, straight to the point. So we, you know, I don't want to have to spell it out like my last name, you
Right.
know. And I think you came up with it, didn't you, Lindsay?
Well, yeah, there was a number of names that we had come up with, and the test was Googling to see what had already become a domain for somebody else.
Yeah, that was
Oh.
true.
And so
Yeah.
we had a couple other names. I think the Willows was one of
I
them.
don't even remember.
Someone took it. But the Suedes was on the list as well, and no one had it. There was something similar, but it was like an old group from, like, I think back in the 80s, and they weren't really around anymore. So I was like, well, we can take it and just brush it up and make it our own. So
Well,
yeah.
if you guys are out there, it's too late. We took it. You got it now.
and they can't have it back.
Well, literally, because the domain is now ours.
Yeah.
Well, that's lovely. So the Suedes, like, does it have a meaning though?
It in a way it does. I mean, the Suedes, the name represents, you know, kind of like Mr. and Mrs. Smith. I like to think of it that
Oh,
way. Brad
nice.
Pitt and Angelina Jolie, they have this, you know, these personas that they have on the outside, and it's them as the perfect couple, but in reality, they're just both these violent killers, you know what I mean? Who are,
Kill each other.
you know, they on the outside they say they love each other, and then for the sake of their job they say they love each other, but do they really love each other? And they find out in the end they really do.
Yeah.
But, you know, they had to sort of go through this process and actually put their relationship to a real test, you know, and it held up. So
It's a pretty good analogy.
the Suedes is kind of like that. It's like on the
Because we're really
surface, what
psycho killers.
psycho killers would laugh that way, but but you know, the Suedes is us putting ourselves out there. We market ourselves, and it for me, I guess it's hard to have that transparency about yourself to the public, and put yourself out there for people to critique and stuff like that. But the Suedes allows us to do that, and then we still have our bubble.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And so, but we give you the best that we can give you, you know, which is why we tell the stories and we share the music.
That's
So.
beautiful. I love it.
Yeah.
So I'm very careful not to ask if you can tell me about you two individually,
Sure.
because obviously music is the foundation of your relationship, and it's something that you do all the time. I'm sure when people aren't looking and you're not behind microphones, there's probably music making as well.
All the
Yes,
time.
all the time.
So Lindsay, can you take a quick moment and just tell us what you've been doing? Who are you? Like, I just met you this year.
Yes.
And I'll give you a little bit of background for those of how I met Lindsay. I actually had a taste test listening party at my home, and Linzy and Cyrus came, and that was your first time. That was my first time meeting you, and I was like, oh my God.
It's a great party, by the way.
Thank you. Thanks. It was a good party. And it's just, when you walked in, it was so familiar, refreshing, and having some of my other friends who were there that knew you, it's just kind of cool. So I'm like, okay, I call it overlapping circles of influence.
Right.
How come this circle didn't overlap before now? But it's okay.
Everything happens when it's supposed to.
It is. Yeah. So tell me a little bit about you.
For the last 10 years or so, for my entire life, I've been singing, either in choirs or little groups here and there. And then in my adulthood, I joined local bands where I could and sang where and whenever I could, just because it was my outlet. That wasn't quite doing it for me, mainly because I wasn't playing an instrument at the time. So I was always at the mercy of their music and their writing and their instruments. And it was very rarely my personal cup of tea. So yes, I'm singing, but am I really getting what it is that I'm looking for? And the answer was no. So I actually started teaching group fitness, which was an incredible outlet for me because I grew up in gyms. Just my background is heavy in either martial arts or physical fitness, and getting the opportunity to put a microphone on and coach people through that journey with me was really exciting. But I also found myself singing a lot through my classes. Now,
Of course.
my clients loved it. I mean, they're
Yes.
just like, oh, it's like a show. And I'm like, why am I still performing but not performing? Like here I am still kind of doing what I love. Still doing what I love, but kind of doing what I really, really love. So I started doing theater. And it was all community theater at first, just because I was trying to get my feet wet and see what I was actually good at. I did go to Douglas Anderson, but just for my freshman year. So I wasn't, I wasn't thoroughly steeped in their theater. My time there was spent in choral competitions, so singing a lot of Latin. So theater was an adult venture, and I fell in love with it. It was the one place that I could be as dramatic as I am naturally. I could sing, dance, act, play with wigs and costumes, and what's even better is the audience really, really loved it, and they loved what brand of theater that I was bringing to the table. And so my journey led me out here to Jacksonville, where I started working with the Alhambra Theater and working on a more professional track, which just took everything to the next level. And as much as I loved that, because it was a stage I had dreamed of working on, I still realized that I wasn't quite doing it. I was like, I love this. Why am I still feeling like I'm not quite there yet? And I had a banjo that was gifted to me at random. That's a whole other story. But because of my wee little tiny hands, I could not quite grasp that instrument to save my career. So I went to a guitar center and I traded it in for a ukulele and taught myself how to play. And I realized that that's what I was waiting for, was the opportunity to take my journey on a more self-guided path. These are the songs I've been singing in the shower for the last 20 years. That's my set list. And I joke about that when I'm playing, is like, I hope you like these songs, because I've been singing these to myself for years.
Yeah.
And now I finally get to stand up and sing them on my own, with my own setup. And as much as I love playing with Cyrus, he's taught me how to take that and make it a more realized vision for myself, which is really incredible. And I didn't walk away from theater at all. I still love it and audition as much as I can, but it was liberating to be able to be on a stage and see people enjoy what I'm doing as just myself instead of a character that I'm playing.
Right.
And theater isn't always kind to us ethnically ambiguous individuals.
Well said. Yeah.
A lot of times I'm too white or too black to play the roles that I've always wanted to play, and that can be discouraging, but it is what it is. That's the industry. Like, no matter how many times I auditioned for American Idol, X Factor, The Voice, and every other reality show you can name, that wasn't my path, and that's okay. So actually that's how I met Cyrus, was I was doing theater. He came to one of my shows and was just that guy in the audience that matched his spit emoji identically. So
Yeah.
he was easy to point out. But it was nice to see. It was nice to meet him while I was doing. It was actually one of my most favorite shows, the Rocky Horror Picture Show, and it was a moment where I'm being the most true to myself I can be. I know that I'm still up here playing a character, but this is my all-time favorite show. It's my 5th time doing it. I'm rocking it out. We're at a whole new venue. It's loose. It's raw. And if you are ever going to see me at one of my best moments, you picked a good one. So,
Hey,
yeah.
awesome. I love
I
it.
know,
That's a
yeah.
beautiful story.
you.
I mean, it talks about the undulating journey
Yeah.
of finding your path and finding that thing that is your purpose. And a ukulele, who would have thought?
I would have never thought. I would have never
Does
thought.
your ukulele have a name?
Unicorn.
Yup.
You like it? Yeah, that's a pretty good name. I love it.
Just me and Unicorn. There's a composition book that's full of just all my chord charts, and it's the Book of Unicorn. So,
Nice.
yeah.
That's a great story.
Thank you.
The Book of Unicorn. Okay. All right, Cyrus. By the way, I'm going to try to paint the picture for everybody out here in podcast radio land. He's sitting here looking with the look of enamored affection and appreciation. Am I right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
All the
awesome.
time.
All the time. All the time.
All the time.
Yeah. So I have to say, I've known you a lot longer than I've known Linzy.
Mm-hmm.
And I've never seen him like this, Linzy.
Never.
Whatever you're doing to it,
Never.
keep it up. You don't have to tell us anything. We just like seeing it. We like this version of Cyrus. So Cyrus, do us an honor and give us a little bit of background, a little bit of history on you, your contribution to music, and
Sure.
try to end in the same place.
Okay. All right. Well, like Linzy, obviously I've been in music since I was a kid, and I'd say it probably started with my parents because my parents were both musicians. My dad played a little bit of flute. My mom played a little bit of guitar and piano, and she's a gospel singer. Still sings to this day. She gives me goosebumps when she sings, and that instilled in me the foundations of my musical background, which was gospel and jazz and classical and opera and soul music. Pretty much that was what was in the house. That's what I could listen to anyway. That was the CDs that were available. So I took that, and when I was in my late teens, I began to develop my talent on piano. That was just the instrument that I was drawn to. But ever since I was like a preteen and started discovering jazz, I'd always wanted to play the double bass. The double bass was the instrument that I heard the most when I was listening to jazz. It was the thing I was listening to and the thing that I was emulating in my head, because the bass, even if all the other instruments are just playing, one chord at a time, the bass is always carrying the rhythm and the melody. It's got its own melody. Doom, 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 doom. Then it just keeps going like a train. So that will be what was in my head, and I was always attracted to it, even though I never had access to a bass. So I started on piano because that's what I had access to. We always had a piano in the house growing up. So I would just kind of float to it, and then music that I was listening to, I just kind of pick it out until eventually I was able to develop my playing ability, and that really mostly happened in church, in the church world. Once I moved from there, I ended up starting, a band or two here in Jacksonville, and
Blue's having a moment. I take it you heard him play live at
I'm
one
gonna
of the
speak on it
bands.
when he's done.
Oh, he's gonna let him finish.
I'll tell you, I've been here long enough that I have a pretty far back history here with Jacksonville and
Yeah.
the different bands that I've worked with. One of the earliest bands that I worked with was called the Musicologists, and it's almost like legendary now in Jacksonville, because it's like, you remember that?
I was going to talk about it.
Wow.
But it's like so throwback, and in that band I played electric bass and a little bit of keys. And
What, y'all playing at 3 layers?
we never played at 3 layers, but we played all over. We played we played mostly in 5 Points.
Five
And a lot of the original members of that band.
Remember we met in with the guy on the bicycle? Yeah. And us came to the show. Yeah. I remember.
It's interesting. That band had a cult following, and it was all about the culture. And everyone that was in that band eventually went off to do different things.
Great.
You name them.
Flutist,
You name them.
bassist, the bass guy.
All the big bands in town have members from that band, that original
Tropic
band.
for Cancer got the
Yep.
He got 2 of your people from that.
Yep. It was that was like the beginning of a lot of other bands that went on to do great things in Jacksonville. So from there, I left that band to go to the Bahamas. And I took like a contract gig there that lasted a little over a year. And when I came back, I was trying to rediscover myself spiritually and musically. And I stepped away from playing in churches. I kind of stepped away from playing piano. I was writing music on guitar, and that's when I met Tommy, and ended up writing a bunch of original music for guitar, and trying to produce stuff. And over the years, I would just pick up different instruments and gravitate to them. I started working with different kinds of genres, folk music. I started working with rock bands, and from there, they just let me play with all different kinds of stuff. Harmonica. I mean, they just was like, "Yeah, can you play this?" I was like, "No, but I'll learn." I'll never say no because I like the challenge because it's fun.
Yeah.
So
kind of like food. I mean, it's my understanding you're a chef. I mean, you cook
at home. Yeah. At home.
But it's the same way. I mean, I somehow I always come back to attributing music to food because you can replace the word food with music, and you can talk about the same exact thing,
and just as passionately.
Yeah. So you've been mixing and creating different recipes with different instruments, and that's how you've become like really a masterful musician, right?
Eventually, and translating what I learned from each one to the others, they all bleed into one another. So when I did meet Linzy, at the time, I was just mostly doing weddings and cover gigs and stuff, and I actually contacted her about, doing some work at the Alhambra since I knew that she was working there. And so when I went to go see her, that was the beginning of the rest of my life for sure.
It's so beautiful.
It just made sense because we were working together. She's playing this ukulele, and I'm like, man, she sounds amazing. And you wonder why I look at her this way. It's because I truly admire her. Like, she impresses me every day. Her voice is so far better than mine. And her ability to sing anything, it impresses me. It impresses me so much. And then, of course, my first impression of her was seeing her on stage doing Rocky Horror Picture. I don't know if you've ever seen that before.
Oh, of course. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Have you seen it before, Boo?
No, I haven't.
That's a Halloween classic.
Dude, Halloween's around the corner.
I'm talking about, have I seen y'all perform?
No. Just Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah.
You seen the movie or the show? Live play?
Not the show, the movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the movie's cool.
But
You got to see the stage play.
Yeah, that's
you
what
got to see the stage play, and
need
it's
to see
different
that.
everywhere you go. But it's its own interesting thing, man. But to see her in it playing Magenta, and
Magenta.
yeah,
Okay.
she's on stage. She's looking amazing, amazing.
As he bites his lip.
Amazing. Okay. And singing her butt off and dancing and acting, and I'm just like, wow, how bold of a person do you have to be to get up there and do that? You know what I mean? And do it well, and do it really, really well. And
Night after night.
And then as soon as she steps off stage, she's super humble, she's chill, she's cool, we're laughing, and everything's cool. And I'm just like, man, wow, it's an amazing person. That's a unique person, So yeah, I wanted to work with her, and I didn't want to work with her right away. When I met her, I just wanted to get to know her. But once I got to know her, I really, really wanted to work with her. So we started dating, and then of course the conversation came up. I mean, we're just two singers living in the same place. Of course we're gonna sing together.
Yeah.
Whenever we have a chance. And I had this double bass that I wasn't using, and I was like, you know what? I could just play some bass up under your ukulele. And you can make that work. That would be cool. It'd be fun, and it is.
And I heard
it's been fun.
It's amazing. The sound resonating through the Volstead. I mean, it's a quite a unique pairing, if I may
Yeah.
say so myself.
I actually haven't
really is.
seen it yet, which is kind of the appeal to it too.
It's because it belongs to the Suedes. It does.
Yeah, you're right.
Own it.
You're right.
It's funny
You're right.
though.
I get goosebumps. I mean, literally have like a moment of like chills coming down. Like I feel like we're gonna listen to this a while back and go, oh my God, this was the beginning of something. And I'm like, oh my God, they were on my show. You know, like I'm gonna be, you know. Do you feel like that? I feel like this is the beginning of something really, really great
Thank you.
because it's so rare. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I mean, you guys are prepared to like do something. You did come prepared.
Yes. We brought a couple of songs that we wanted to perform.
Look at what we have made. Let's begin our own parade. Waking up to a life filled with you is more than great. Oh, cut a slice of fine Parisian. What is life without a reason to always do? So I propose a slice of toast to you.
At a shop not too far, I can hear an au revoir. I would want nothing more than to hold you in my arms. Oh, pardon my wretched Francais. Would you be my pomme fiancée, please? Do say oui. I propose a slice of toast to we. Oh, I propose a slice of toast to we. All right.
The end.
So that's actually a song that's called Pengril, and I'm probably pronouncing it wrong, but this is a song that's all a play on French words and
It's a play on
thing.
his horrific
My-
French
yes,
pronunciations.
exactly.
But that's okay. That's okay. It's adorable in spite of. Yeah.
Yeah.
This next song is a song that Mr. Cyrus wrote. It is a solo piece, but when we met, we both knew that something was happening, something neither of us had ever experienced before, and not just in a romantic way. It was just something clicked when you find that, for lack of a better term, simpatico. So as these feels are escalating, still not engaging in anything romantic, we'll just use that word, still very platonic and just trying to get to know each other and respect the fact that you're a human, I'm a human. How can we be humans together as much as possible? It was within our first week of meeting each other and spending time together, he sends me this video that he clearly had been working on the entire night prior, because the video came through around 7:00 in the morning. And it was a video of him playing the guitar for a song that he had written, and it was called Freckles. And I feel like the song speaks for itself. We can talk more about it after the song, but he wrote me a song, and it's called Freckles. And we'll just say it changed everything.
So a moment ago the guitar dropped, so I've got to tune that in.
While he's tuning, it's okay. While he's tuning, but yes, this, like I said, this was during a time where we were just friends and just trying to get to know each other. But I told him that the song changed my life because no one had ever told me that they loved me through music before, and the song doesn't say "I love you," but the context is there without him even needing to say it. So when people say, and after that I was like, well, the rest is history, because clearly after that I was like, well, forsaking all others and everything, and just you're it.
Cool.
Take it away.
I don't believe in horoscopes, and yet I'm searching for a sign within the freckles on your nose. Please tell me there remains a fortune to be told somewhere in the freckles on your nose. I don't believe in miracles, and yet I see you standing there, even when my eyes are closed. Please tell me that you see what I have always known, somewhere in the freckles on your nose. Your nose, somewhere in the freckles on your nose. I don't believe in heaven sent, yet I see the heavens strewn across your spotted melanin. Please tell me there remains a foreshadowing prose somewhere in the freckles on your nose. Your nose, somewhere in the freckles on your nose.
Thank you so much. That was exquisite.
Thank you.
We're going to take a short break and come back with the Suedes. Welcome back to Taste Test Live. I'm Damien Lamar, your host, and co-hosted by Mr.
Blue Francois.
Yes, thank you. You just heard music coming from the Suedes, brand new music. I'm still literally processing.
Are you flabbergasted?
I guess that would be the word.
Flabbergasted? Because that's what I feel. I feel that over here.
Yeah,
coming
it's
from
a
you.
little bit of. I'm rarely
Euphoria
overwhelmed.
too. A little euphoria.
Definitely some euphoria.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for coming
was
by
amazing.
and
Thank you for having us.
wow. Okay.
You know what's crazy though? Before you say something.
Yeah.
When I met Linzy, she was, I was under the understanding that she was an actor/model, because I thought she was just a motto.
I'm just a motto.
A motto.
Not just a pretty face,
And
man.
I discovered she sung through Instagram by following her.
Whoa.
Yeah, so I thought I knew she act, I knew she, you know, and then with Cyrus, I don't. Well, he said something before. He said that he put together. They used to have, to me, performances. It was good. I remember one time. Y'all remember you did First Friday? Do you remember that dealing with Quincy?
Yeah.
I ain't gonna say something about Quincy on this show. But I remember somebody was like, and this is before the cat downstairs was like, before they started popping. They was like, we want the cat downstairs because Cyrus, he don't really sing that good. So I always had the impression that Cyrus was like, and then one day I heard him at, I don't know if it was on the beach or it was at, it was
probably Art Walk or something.
Yeah,
like
I think
that.
it was Art Walk. I heard him, and I said, "Who told me he couldn't sing, man?" And then another time, you remember when Quincy was trying to do something at that little spot over there in Tinseltown?
Yeah, they've gone through a lot of
Yeah,
spots.
I can't think of the name, but the mood was so janky and so crazy, and not janky as far as promoter. Shouts out to Quincy, that's my homeboy. But the whole
The tea is piping hot tonight. Good
Yeah,
Lord.
it's real hot.
no, but the
Spilling
night.
all the tea.
Yeah, the night was kind of like a little weird night. So the radio band kind of set up. They took their time. They didn't.
Yeah.
But man, when it was supposed to be like a Caribbean type thing, man, when they started playing, it was just three of them. Just three.
Oh,
of
that
them.
must have been over at the old Suite, probably. Was
Yeah,
the Suite shut down? Yeah.
Yeah, this was right after Suite shut down.
Oh, Sea Chasers. Yeah.
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 This was before that. This was over there in Tinseltown. You know
I don't know,
Tinseltown.
somewhere. I don't know.
Anyway, but anyway, so they it was a weird crowd, but they went on, and everybody stopped what they doing and started zoomed in. They grabbed their attention, and he had that Maxwell. It was a Sunday afternoon vibe. And I'm sitting there like
All by himself.
and I'm sitting like, yeah, exactly. And I'm sitting there like, oh, I know where I know him from. They used to have this musicologist. Let me tell you something. When they was performing, they wasn't performing. It was like a jam session. Anybody of their friends in their little clique can walk up there and just jam. Didn't rehearse, didn't play. They could just. It was like a jam session It was kind of like what's the group that the band
Snarky Puppy?
Snarky Puppy. It
Yeah.
was like that.
It
like,
is. It
very
was one of the most organic music experiences.
yeah, it was very diverse. I mean,
we've
it
ever
was
had, yeah.
Spanish, Latin, well, nobody Asian, but when Cyrus and I saw Cyrus as the ringleader, not a band leader. He was like the ringleader. Like he can get them like the Pied Piper. He can get all the musicians to come out. They wasn't asking about money. It was just more so like it was just
Come and be and
It
experience.
was like a
and-
vibe before everybody.
We literally
sang.
played for food there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Was
that's
it
what
And
I'm
food
happy
good?
and happy to do it too. 'cause,
Okay.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
good.
what was it? Caspa?
Five Points Cafe, which
Oh,
was,
I
which
remember
was run by
that.
Alva,
Yep.
who now runs Bay Street Bar and Grill.
Bay Street Bar and
That's
Grill,
good to know. Okay.
Did you ever go check
I
them out?
went. I've been to 5 Points back in the day. I did something
was-
called
it
social
was-
media breakfast there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
years
it was
ago.
dark. It was.
Yeah.
It was like.
I met
It was
Billy.
a magical place at the
I
time.
Yeah.
met Billy
man.
Buchanan there, as a matter of fact.
Billy,
Yeah.
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 You know who
Yeah.
used to
all
come?
all the artists, all the poets, they all used to come through there.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know
Everybody.
what's the name used to come? The writer for Folio Weekly,
Yep.
Shelton.
Shelton.
Oh yeah,
He used
Shelton
to
Hall.
come.
You name
Yeah.
them, they all came through.
Yeah,
anybody
I-
who likes 5 Points in Riverside, they all
Yeah.
came through there.
Yeah, like hey guys, like if you're listening, like please by all means, like tag us, right?
They-
tell us
They
your
should've
favorite
did a- y'all should've
musicologist
did an
story.
They all
album.
know. They all know because
Y'all
I'm
should've
still
did
friends
an
with
album.
all these people. We just
Yeah.
kind of we don't really talk about that time, but we know that's where we all met.
Yeah.
From that time.
Yeah, I wish they did an album because it was so like you said, it was so
You
revolutionary.
know, speaking of albums, I'm gonna talk about Cyrus for one brief moment
Yeah.
because I had a chance to experience something that it was like I witnessed it, something that was amazing.
What's that?
At the time, Underbelly was on Bay Street. I think I'm not sure what it is now. Mark's, it's
It's still Underbelly. It's
Yeah,
just,
it's still
it's
Underbelly.
kinda
They're
defunct
going
right
through
now.
some
Okay.
ownership
I
issues.
hope they come to Jesus or something real soon.
They do need.
And
Lottery ticket.
because that place was great.
Yeah.
When the sound guy was on, the performances there, the lights, the whole experience of a live performance. I think it was probably one of the nicest live venues downtown,
Definitely.
outside of 1904 Music Hall.
For sure.
Yeah.
And I had a chance to experience the Ivory Lounge. Cyrus, I mean, it was a Mardi Gras celebration. What was that project about?
So the Mardi Gras thing was a separate Mardi Gras event.
Okay.
But Ivory Lounge was just another. I call it a musical tangent because at the time I was writing music on acoustic guitar, working over at Tommy's studio, and I'd been working on that project for months, just kind of like, when you're working on for something so long, you're listening back to a track for so long, and you just it gets dead in your ears.
Yeah.
And so I was having that effect towards the whole project, and I just needed to do something completely different. So I went, all right, well, let me just elevate myself and do something else. And that's what I did. I just made a whole bunch of instrumental sort of jazz fusion music and then put it into a record. And I invited a bunch of artists from Jacksonville to come and collaborate with me. And then a few months later, it just became a CD release and a thing. And then as soon as it released, it was just like, all right, now back to regularly scheduled programming.
But it was like
follow up.
A shift happened because I had not experienced anything like that at that magnitude from seeing a bunch of my friends perform all together. It was like witnessing a jam session that they just let you in the door. Like, okay, you can come in now and watch us, and it was, I'm almost speechless because it was an amazing experience for me. I remember in order because I didn't have cash that night. In order to get the CD, the actual printed physical,
You had to buy a drink.
you had to buy the white elephant drink,
which was the cocktail.
or the white. It was ivory. It was white. It was ivory
something like that. Something like that.
Yeah, but I bought it. The drink was great, and I was so happy. Like I got my album, even though I'm like lactose intolerant. I was excited. I sacrificed milk just to be able to get the album. I still have the Ivory Lounge CD.
I do too.
And I never got it autographed. You have a copy too?
We have a couple copies.
Yes.
So we have, yes.
I have just a few left. So
That's a good thing.
yeah, I don't really give them away anymore because what I have left is just I don't want to give it away. It's all I got left. Is all.
Except to me.
Yeah.
So you guys are like, I mean, you're reinventing things through the Suedes. I mean, this is a culmination of two great performing artists that came together and created something so unique. I witnessed, if love had a texture and a sound, that's what I witnessed today.
Sweet. I like that.
Yeah, I don't know where that came from. That's yeah.
Going up on the website.
Yeah.
The texture of
If
suede.
love
is
had a
love.
texture and a sound,
Yeah.
it's the Suedes.
Yeah.
So thank you so much. If you guys want to stick around, we're going to do our next segment called Put This in Your Mouth.
Okay.
And every week, I know,
Stop.
you must have heard one of the prior shows.
No, I'm just a fan of I Can Yell It.
He's just
That's so funny.
going off on
Because it's so funny. Because the first time we decided to do this, there was another international independent hip hop producer here in Jacksonville called J Ham, and I got the shirt after the fact, but the segment's called "But Put This in Your Mouth,"
In your mouth.
and he just kept saying, "Put it in your mouth."
Yeah.
Can't sing the rest of the song. But we know what song you're talking about.
And then I just saw it's weird because like when I was mixing the showdown, I started hearing like the ice cream truck come. Like, put it in your mouth. You know, like it-
my
Yeah.
So
God.
I'm
It's
going to
so childish.
eventually put
Oh
it.
my God.
I'm going to really put like ice cream song music or something behind this
Yeah.
track. And
Okay.
so in this segment, what we do is we talk about. It's my chance to actually do it. Music digestion, I call it. I don't like calling it discussion because it's so bleh.
Yeah.
I like to digest music like food.
Okay.
So I get a chance to actually digest some of the music that I played on the show the preceding Sunday. So last Sunday, I didn't have a show title. I couldn't come up with a title, and I'm looking at some of the songs. It was a feeling. I don't know, Blue. You got any feedback? Like, if the show had a title Sunday, what would we call
That's
it?
why I said I kept the word robust when I was listening. Just kept coming, but I didn't know how you would put it in a tasty, tantalizing way. So it can melt in your mouth and your ear. Ooh, M&M's. No, I'm just playing. Go ahead.
So I had to start off, and normally I start off with the taste test instrumental music, which is everybody go, oh, here's taste test. I'm listening to taste test now. But I started off with these drums on this track by Bane. He's an artist, and the song is called Love Safe. and it was a remix. Actually, I played Love Safe on the show a couple weeks ago, and then the remix was made by Nicolay, formerly of the Foreign Exchange. Exquisite. I love that word, by the way. Such a great remix, and it was a way. I like usually doing some fine tuning because the show that comes on before is Juke Joint, and it when I first heard David Luckin's Juke Joint, it literally transcends. It takes you. You feel like you're sitting in front of the radio in 1945 or 1950. Like you're taken back in time because he includes the commercials and all that, and then Taste Test comes on and it's a completely different feel. So what I've been doing is sort of like balancing out the frequency a little bit. Let's hurry up and catch you up, bring you into the future because you were way in the back if you listen. Right. And then if you didn't, then you come on, you're like, okay, I'm not sure what's happening. And then I moved from Bane, Love Safe to one of my favorite artists, Crystal Lewis, her single Dancing Through Tunnels.
Which is great.
Yeah.
Which is really great.
Do you like it?
I grew up listening to Crystal Lewis, so to hear her now years later still sound as crisp
yes
as you pick that up. That's just, I'm so impressed and constantly impressed by her. But yeah, she was a staple in our household.
Let me tell you, I too have been listening to Crystal Lewis circa 1990. Ooh.
Yep.
This was when she was on Roundhouse on Nickelodeon. Roundhouse.
Oh my gosh.
She was the redhead that was running around.
I need to see videos.
You have to, yeah. You
go
look, listen. Yeah.
So I probably,
You have definitely seen her, and she did Nickelodeon for a while, and apparently this is because I was part of the original Crystal Lewis fan club.
Oh, okay. Was there a pin?
You had to mail it in.
Yeah, no, actually I wrote and asked to be put on the newsletter, and I got my first hand-printed like brochure with all of Crystal Lewis news and information, handwritten by her. And apparently she and her husband were they had been married. She was a singer, he was a producer, played guitar, he was a musician, and they decided while she was in Orlando working at Nickelodeon, they decided to actually start a record label. So he was out in Newport Beach, California, and she was in Orlando, and they did that for a while, and they're like, maybe I should move back to the West Coast. And they did that, and then she got signed to, or their label got signed to Word Records. And Word then, with their marketing prowess, really, really kind of thrusted her album. So she made lots of music. I have every album in English and in Spanish.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. And an autographed copy of her most recent album. And in February, I just reached out after hearing Bloom, one of her first singles this year. I said, I'm just going to take a chance. And I went to her website and filled out the booking form as if I was booking her.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm Damien. I have a new radio show. And I'm like, this is this, giving a little bit of background. And I would love to feature Bloom or one of the other jewels that you care to share with me. And also, since I'm asking, can you send me some drops for the radio? And she emailed me back and she goes, are you kidding me? And within 24 hours, she sent me both of her singles and drops for the show.
I'm gonna cry. Oh my gosh. That's so
You made sure to let her know you've been in the fan club since you were.
She knew it. I'm sure she knew it. And
smell it on him.
Yeah, and it's funny because like my first Crystal Lewis concert, I saw her perform, and she came out. She sang one song, and then she started coughing, and she kept clearing her throat, and she left, and she went away. And she came back in 2 minutes later and laid us all out.
Well,
whatever it was, she cleared the throat.
Hey, get that throat clear.
Yeah. But I have literally been following her journey, and now her daughter Izzy Ray performs and has a beautiful album out. Her son Solomon Ray just had a baby. Like Izzy Ray got married this year. Solomon Ray had his first baby. I knew the kids when Crystal was pregnant. I feel like I've been watching them grow up. And I get goosebumps being able to play my favorite singer on the radio. It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
So I try to fit her in as much as possible.
Full circle.
And then right after Dancing Through Tunnels, I played Prince, I Would Die For You, because
even if they want me to.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. As Linzy's doing the dance.
How can you not?
Right. How can you not? Yeah. So that's such a great song. And again, it's about keeping the frequency high, right?
Yeah.
So went from there to Keep Reaching, which is a song that was produced by Quincy Jones and Mark Ronson that was featured on the Netflix original documentary by Quincy Jones. Played that, and then a guest that's going to be on our show in January, Charity Lanique, by way of my friend Blue Francois here. I have been listening to her album for 2 days in a row in the car. Like, I would get in the car and Charity Lanique would come on, and I'm like piped and amped, and all of a sudden I found the song and I emailed her. I'm like, I'm playing this song on the radio. She goes, oh my God, I'm sending you some drops. So I'm waiting on some drops from her. But I played Love's Down, or Love Down. And if you do yourself a favor, go listen to her record. It doesn't sound like it was produced here in Jacksonville. She's not going to be here long. If she's in Jacksonville.
And I did the album artwork. Yay!
Oh, okay.
The album artwork you did the whole thing?
Yeah, all of it.
Man, it's very nice. Well done. A job well done, I should say.
And I do her marketing on her stream, so her numbers are doing really good.
Yeah, so we got to get her on because she's burning up, and she got replayed again on the show on Tuesday night, as a matter of fact. Right after Charity, I played Bobby Womack.
Yeah.
That's the way I feel about
like
you.
saying his name.
Yeah.
Bobby Womack.
Womack. Yeah, those Womacks were something. I'm telling you. Go listen to Womack and Womack. It's a song called. That'll be a good song for y'all.
That sounds like too much soul. Womack and Womack.
It was.
Womack, yeah.
So Bobby Womack's brother and Sam Cooke's sister created a group called Womack and Womack.
Oh my.
And they did a song called Baby, I'm Scared of You.
Okay.
And the first time I heard that song was the first time I heard Badu perform in Atlanta. And she's singing the song, and it was like perfect. It was a perfect song in her set. And the audience is like,
Yeah.
she's like, y'all don't know this song?
Know it now.
Wow.
Yeah, it's about magic and the guy playing magic tricks and doing magic, but it's a great song for couples. So, like, maybe you should add that to your repertoire.
We're always keeping our
Repertoire.
eyes and ears peeled for
Baby,
some
I'm
good
scared
duets.
of you. Yeah.
It's on the list.
Yeah. So, and of course, since I was in my fields about old school vocalists, I had to find this really great project called The Midnight Hour, produced by Ali Shaheed and Adrian Young. They're the musicians that made the music behind Luke Cage.
Right.
They featured a Luther Vandross version of So Amazing and played that. That song was great. And then I closed out the set with Exile. This is a DJ Exile. He's known for like chopping beats up and like blending things together, and that was called Mega Mix. So that was side A. Side B for my bestie. She had been like raving since she saw the concert. She's been raving about this duo. Maybe I should call this. Yes, I'm having a little side tangent. I'm so sorry.
A duo?
The duo, another infamous duo. Two gentlemen, Sting and Shaggy.
Oh, the concert that was over at David's place.
Yeah. So she saw the concert. Actually, I think she went down to Tampa to see the concert.
Oh, okay.
And the song was called Just One Lifetime.
So they actually have music together though?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I just thought they were touring together.
No, they have a full album together, and
Which
it was
isn't random.
It's
enough
weird.
as
It really is random. Like, who reached out to who? Did Sting reach out to
Sting
Did
probably
you
Shaggy?
have them in the
I
studio
think-
and ask them their story?
I think
How did this
Sting
start?
reached out to Shaggy because Sting seems like the more open-minded one.
Yeah.
And Shaggy was probably just like, yeah, man.
Yeah, sure.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. I'm not doing anything else.
He was just
Be nice.
he was just being busy being boom-tastic.
Mr. Bombastic.
There you go.
Come on, man.
So I mean, it's a great pairing. I think their album is what it makes you feel like the Islands, but then you hear the unmistakable voice of Sting coming through.
Which is
God,
beautiful.
one of my
And
favorite
yeah,
artists.
yeah. So go listen to the record. It's a good album.
It's on the list.
After that, I had to play a little bit of she used a sample from Mint Condition. What kind of man would I be? And her name is Alina Baraz. And the name of the song is called I Don't Even Know Why Though. I don't even know why though. I mean, it's just, it's good.
Yeah, she's dope.
And a music discovery, and I feel if Mr. Robinson, I'm not sure if we're related, but if Micah Robinson's listening, if he hears this podcast, he's already reached out to me tonight, thanking me for sharing his music, and I feel such an honor. His name is Micah Robinson, Micah D.E. Robinson on Facebook. He has a new EP called Experimental Acetaminophen.
Okay.
All right.
And the song that I played on Taste Test was called Hindsight. If you like Bilal, you'll like Michael Robinson.
Then I like him.
I love
more.
Bilal.
Yeah.
I love Bilal.
Yeah, very. He fits. You know what? This is the vision I'm getting. He fits between Corey Henry and Bilal.
So he's a musician too.
Yes.
What do you
Plays
play?
keys?
Yes, I believe so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So he sing and play.
He sees. Yeah. Yes.
All right.
So do yourself an absolute like.
Did you write that down?
Yeah.
I did.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Got
go
it.
listen to Micah Robinson. Listen to his EP. I believe it's like 4 or 5 songs, but exquisite. Somehow it came to me. It was like, you must play me this week. So Micah, your songs do talk to people. They talk to me. And then I played a little bit of an instrumental by Freddie Joachim. It's called Hours. A little laid back tune, ready to end the show. And then I closed out the show with Tall Black Guy featuring Moonchild. And the name of the song was I Will Never Know. Such a great group. Moonchild is, her name is Charlotte. If you don't know Moonchild, look up Moonchild. You're going to be very, very surprised.
Very.
Moonchild, Radiant Children. I'm throwing out names like. Go listen, and you'll be like,
yeah, that's right.
What?
Yeah, we
they'll make you go,
That's what they
okay,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
It's good because it's hard for me to find new music. I say it's hard. It's not hard to find new music. It's hard to find new music that you like.
yes,
And especially if you don't take the time to go searching like what you do. And thank God.
sometimes I
Yeah.
Cyrus,
Find
honestly,
you.
I don't really search.
It
In
finds you.
sometimes, I really don't search. I'll listen to like I use Apple Music extensively.
Yeah.
And I scroll through and it'll recommend things, or
Yeah.
I'll play a radio station by one of my favorite artists and hear a song and I'm like, and then find out that the song is like 8 years old. I'm like, what did I know about this song? And I feel like, where do I have to share it with everybody? So I play it on the radio. But some of these things, I don't know how they come to me. They just do.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I'm so glad it does. And I was worried this week, specifically, or last week, because the music didn't come to me until Sunday morning.
Oh.
Like, I had half of the show laid out, and then the rest of it, I woke up Sunday, had French press coffee, go in my office, and then it's all like, clack, 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 clack. It was amazing. So I'm glad to be able to share the music with you guys, and I'm glad you're able to talk about it with me. So do us a quick favor, because I know we didn't do that in the interview portion. Tell people how they can find you. Like, where are you going to be?
Everywhere. We are on Facebook. Apparently, we are coming to Twitter. Eventually. We're on Instagram as well. The Suedes Music, at the Suedes Music, on Facebook. The Suedes, and we have a website, thesuedes.com.
So it's supposed to be simple, but sometimes people don't know how to spell suede. So Google will help you out with that.
Think
Just-
the
yeah.
upholstery.
But
Right.
yeah, thesuedes.com, and from there, of course, you can find links to YouTube videos and Facebook page and the Instagram link as well.
And hopefully a live performance soon. Like, so people, do you update your website with your schedule and everything as well?
We do. Our next performance, I believe, is this Saturday in Fernandina Beach.
Okay.
It's a place called Sliders. It's right on the beach.
Sliders.
Right
okay.
on the
Oh,
beach.
We gotta go.
Yeah,
When is
let's
It's in
do
the
it.
afternoon.
1 to 5.
1 to 5.
Wait,
It's a
when?
lovely Saturday afternoon on the
Yeah,
beach.
the weather's going to be great this weekend
Yes.
too.
I hope so.
No, I've already
Yeah.
checked. I've
Okay.
consulted with the weather god.
What was the
They
date? I'm
Okay.
told
sorry.
me it's going to be
This
great.
Saturday.
This Saturday.
Yeah,
Okay.
27.
This Saturday.
All right, when we come back from Halloween Horror Nights,
Uh-oh.
the Suedes is taking Universal Studios.
Yep.
That's what's up.
It's our home away from home.
All right.
Slide.
But yeah, that's where you can find us.
Yeah. So again, thank you so much for being a part of Taste Test Live. I
Thank you for
appreciate you
having
guys.
us.
My man,
Oh my
thank you
gosh.
for helping us.
Bless you. You've blessed
Come
the
through
mic. You gave us 2 lovely jewels, which I hope to be able to have a digital copy of something very, very soon.
Well, you just recorded your own version.
I did. I can play it as much as I want.
None of those
yours.
songs are actually recorded. So that is the first recording of both
I'll
of those
send them
songs.
to you, unedited. So I'll just send them, and you can
Thank you.
Cool.
do your mixing and your mastering, and then
Appreciate
put
it.
it on your live at Taste Test.
Cool.
Yeah, be awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Plug it up.
So yeah. So Blue, can you take us out? We've reached the end of the show, unfortunately.
Yeah. We're gonna skip over taste. Put this in your mouth.
We did that.
Oh yes. All right. Good.
It's already in the mouth.
It tastes
chewed
real
on it.
good.
It tasted
Oh,
good.
no, actually, no. That was my music digestion session.
Yeah.
We didn't talk about the news at all.
Yeah, it would have been.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would have been a
I
buzzkiller.
don't- yeah. So
Oh.
we'll come back next
Yeah,
week
we'll
with
have
double
news.
news. We didn't
No
share any
buzzkills.
news at
Yeah,
all.
no-
Like
nothing-
current events, you
nothing-
mean?
Yeah, current
Yeah.
events.
Oh my God.
You don't want to talk about current events. You want to talk about
You
current
don't want
events?
to get me on current events.
Uh-oh.
Nah.
No, you really don't.
Uh-oh.
That's a bag of worms that I closed up
All right.
and threw away.
I'm just going to say one thing. Just one.
What?
Did you guys see Cardi B, her Instagram live video?
No, I haven't. I don't know what it's about.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I saw that her new single dropped, but I didn't really watch any of her.
Well, they needed to drop that single to
Take care of the.
take care of the bad publicity that she was causing herself
Oh no!
and
What'd
all
she
the little
do?
girls that watch her and her mouth.
Yeah.
What did she do?
You gotta watch.
You have
I
to
think
watch
they
it.
took the live down, but somebody has a
No,
record.
I have it.
Oh, you.
I have a link
Oh,
and a working link, and I'm
live
not trying to
lives
shame
on.
her or anything, but I just want to say, Cardi, if you're listening, girl, you have an audience, you have a platform,
You have a child.
you have children, or you have a
Responsibility.
child. We have responsibilities, but they're young people, young impressionable minds listening. There's no need to talk about your sexual relations.
Oh.
That explicitly
oh!
You know
no.
what? You know what,
on
Damien?
Instagram Live.
I'm gonna counter that and say you can't have high standards for someone who strips for a living.
But bump.
So
Well, you're right.
we already knew what industry she came from before she got into music, and she's not the first one to do it as far as female rappers go. So, I mean, it's kind of like other people who were in other high offices, places, who came from other nefarious backgrounds and are now in places of, that are supposed to have dignity, and they
And
don't
authority.
really, but they don't really carry that same. You know what I mean? So like
Integrity.
you can't really have that expectation of these people when you know where they came from.
Right.
Not to say that their past is supposed to stay with them forever, but if they haven't risen above that, then why would you expect them to? Just because they're now in the position that they're in.
It's
That
a good thing
back-
I'm expecting her to do anything, but
More power to her.
I'm just throwing
yeah.
it out there, like maybe if you're listening.
I bet she drive her publicist wild.
She probably be like, okay, Damien.
Ow.
We don't care about you, Damien. Your
You
opinions.
ain't nobody to me. You ain't nobody.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I can't even do my tongue.
No,
won't
she's
even do that.
hilarious though.
Yeah.
She's
I love Cardi B
hilarious.
though.
Oh my
but,
God.
Okay. So her new single "Money" came out
Yeah.
today. So have you heard it, Blue?
Yeah, I heard it. I actually saved the lyrics because she did an interview.
Did she say something about throwing a shoe at Nikki?
Yeah. Listen, let me
Too
tell
soon?
you.
My bad.
She said that in an article with E.T., she said she had to drop music, it's documented, to take care of her child because children are expensive.
Yeah.
I wonder what the rest of
Then-
us who are not making millions are doing to take care of our
I was
children.
like, girl, your stroller has gold on it. Sell a
in
wheel.
in the lyrics, she says, of course, she takes a shot. Oh, yeah, that's what I was going to tell you. I only listened to the part where she took, because there was a clip on Instagram someone played. It was just a clip of her taking a shot at Nicki Minaj. But anyway, in it says, all y'all bees are in trouble. Bring brass knuckles to a scuffle. She also raps where she says, have you heard Cardi went pop? Yeah, I did go pop. That's me busting they bubble.
The ultimate shade.
E.T. published that online.
Hey.
Her exact words.
She funny.
She funny.
She funny.
She's hilarious.
You cute.
She's got her own brand of wit, and I love it.
I know.
And then people just be publishing and eating it up. It's like,
We love Cardi.
right.
Yeah. All right. So that's all the news we got this week.
That's all.
That's news, folks. That's news.
Oh man.
I'm gonna tell you, I've thoroughly enjoyed this hour with my guest, Linzy, Cyrus, the Suedes, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you again for coming by.
Thank you for having us.
Blue.
If you like what you heard, please follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter at Taste Test Radio. Please visit tastetest.live to find all of our old episodes and hear more by subscribing to our podcast. We're on nearly every service out there, to include Apple Podcast, Stitcher, TuneIn, SoundCloud, Spotify, and YouTube. Please find us.
Yeah. Tastetest.live. That's where we are. Just search Taste Test Live and subscribe to our channel, and you'll get notified the minute we release an episode. And if you really like what you heard, please give us 5 stars and write a review. We appreciate it. We want that feedback. That's how we know you're listening. Thank you again to our guests, the Suedes. This podcast was produced, edited, and recorded courtesy of yours truly. Also, thanks to our new production assistant, Autumn Lee, who's not with us tonight. She had a major project that she had to finish. But thanks to her, and also thanks for WJCT for allowing us to use their studios to deliver quality podcasting to you guys. This episode is also sponsored in part by WJCT. They're our friends, and they are the leader in public broadcasting in the Northeast Florida area. Please support local radio and television by making a contribution, because WJCT is a nonprofit organization. And in order to keep great music shows and the awesome programming and talk on 89.9, consider making a pledge or a donation, and find them at www.wjct.org/radio. That will do it for us.
Dun, dun.
Keep it tasty.
Au revoir.